Welcome to Reckless Paradise, everyone. I'm your host, Marissa, and here's my co-host, Dystro. Say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys. Happy Sunday. I hope everybody had a very good weekend. As I mentioned in the last episode, we do have a returning guest tonight. If you guys remember Cory from our previous episodes from last year, say hi, Cory.
Hi.
Good
Hi.
introduction.
I'm
Hi.
well known.
Hi. Oh my god. Anyways, oh my god, I hear my cat throwing up in the other room. Ugh, fucking A.
Delicious.
We'll figure that out later. Anyways, once again, I hope everybody had a good weekend. My weekend was pretty good. What about you guys?
Mine
Not
was
long
alright.
enough.
Good answer. Because you guys literally on my end, you guys spoke at the same exact time.
Yeah,
Tigger, you
mine was,
better not throw up in here. I swear to God.
mine was alright.
This is a chaotic start. My cat is in my room. She's like, it's like.
Delicious.
Anyways, tonight is the final night of Rectober. For all of y'all that have stuck around this whole month, we appreciate that. Thank you for listening to our show. Um, I'm sad to say Rectober is pretty much over after this episode. Like this whole month flew by quick.
Yeah, it really did. But
God,
I
God.
mean, we have some really good episodes cooked for the next 2 months. So
Yeah, to wrap up 2023, we've been writing down all our episodes and when we're gonna do them and stuff. So that'll be coming up. But let's wrap up Rectober in a bit of a scary fashion. Here is a little warning. Some topics mentioned in this show tonight are a little bit trigger sensitive. So if you are sensitive to certain topics, please be advised to watch this video at your own discretion. You have every right to go ahead and skip this video and watch a different episode. You have every right to do so. That is completely understandable. But again, listen at your own discretion, and I appreciate that.
mhm.
So tonight we are doing an episode that we did last year, our serial killers episode. Let's talk serial killers for 2023. We did it last year towards the middle of October. We each had to do research on a serial killer that we each picked out ourselves. We did the same exact thing this year with three different serial killers. Um, and Cory, of course, we had to drag him in here. Like, we cannot do a serial killers episode without him, to be honest. He fits.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh, it's like we just drag him in here for like street covers. So it's like, oh,
practically.
We literally haven't had a guest on the show in like forever.
but we are so glad to have you back, Mister Cory.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, bitch. Okay, so considering I went, I think I went last year with my serial killer.
So that means you go first.
Yes, I'm going first. So we're gonna do me, and then we're gonna do you, and then we're gonna do Dystro at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I volunteered to do last this year.
All right, so the serial killer I had to do this year was a killer known as John Wayne Gacy. Now, I've known a little bit about him beforehand, just because I've seen a couple documentaries on TV. I never got through them fully. I don't know why. I think I got caught up with something at the time. Um, but man, this guy is absolutely insane. Like I was doing my notes, I was reading through the site I was using, and like he's just absolutely insane. Like my brain was just mind fucked after taking notes. I spent a good 30 minutes. So he was born March 17th of 1942 in Chicago, Illinois. So yes, he is from the U.S. He had a really rough upbringing. His father was an abusive alcoholic, like very very abusive. But he did have a close relationship with his sisters and his mother, which I mean I guess that's okay, but um, again, doesn't excuse the father's actions in this case. Now, I didn't really go into detail with how he really was with his father and stuff like that. I didn't go into detail about that. I basically just did the basics so you guys get the gist of who the hell this guy is. So this guy actually seemed like a normal human being, like, at first. Like, he, like, had an education, wanted to do something with himself, but I guess something in his brain must have clicked at some point, because he is most notorious for killing, raping, torturing at least 33 young men and boys, all located within the Norwalk Park Township area in Chicago. Um, his nickname was called the Killer Clown, mainly because that was what he dressed up as for public performances. Prior to the discovery of his crimes, he was known as the Killer Clown. Um, I mean, I feel like if you know the serial killer, you have to know that he was a killer clown. Like, that's like his,
His
what do you
signature.
want to call it? Yeah, it's like his signature nickname, I guess you could call it. Now, all murders, tortures, rapes, etc., they were all committed in his ranch-style home. 26 of his victims were buried in the crawl space of his home. 3 of them were buried elsewhere on his property, and then the other 4 were discarded in the Des Plaines River. Wow.
And that's also in Illinois too.
Yeah, that's in
14th River.
Illinois. Holy crap.
Uh,
So I really went into detail about his lure tactic. Basically, a lure tactic is how this guy tried to lure men and boys into his place and stuff like that. So what he would do, this is where it kind of gets a little sketchy. He would lure this victim into his home and dupe them into donning, also known as putting on handcuffs, on the pretext of demonstrating a magic trick. He would then rape and torture said victim before killing them via asphyxiation or strangulation with a garrote. A garrote, by the way, is basically a handheld ligature, such as a rope, wire, or chain. Basically anything you could put around somebody's neck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much how he lured all his victims into his place. Which, I mean, if you really think about it, like, I literally had to, like, stop from it and mentally think about that, because that is so fucked up. Like, oh my god.
And he was just an average, ordinary, everyday Joe too.
Yeah, and that's like the biggest, like, fucked up thing about it. Like, he was like an average person. Like, you wouldn't think that he was like that. But then again, like, I guess we could all see that for every serial killer we cover. Like, last year with Ted Bundy. Like, Ted Bundy, like, he was super attractive back in the day. You would never think he was like that.
Yeah. Hey, looks could kill.
I guess so. So when it came to discovering the bodies by the police, it was just a freaking mess. They literally had John Wayne Gacy draw out, like, a rough outline sketch of his basement to show where the bodies were buried, the ones that were buried. And then shortly after that, you know, they had like a search warrant for his house, obviously, first. They went to the crawl space and they found a whole bunch of body parts everywhere. Like, you had torsos, arms, like, legs. It was absolutely horrifying. Eventually, this guy confessed to the murders and stuff like that. He was apprehended on the 21st of December, 1978, sentenced to the death penalty. He remained on death row for 14 years. He got a death sentence for each victim he had murdered. So they said there was 33, but some sources say there may be more that they just did not link to the crime, unfortunately. But I really wonder if they would actually, like, revisit that case, even though John Wayne Gacy is no longer with us, because he did get executed in 1994 via lethal injection. Now, the funny thing is, during the lethal injection, the IV tubes they used to inject that stuff into him got clogged. So they had to go and replace the tube. And they just blamed it on, like, not knowing what the hell they're doing. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, can you just imagine, like, you're standing outside of the jail or the prison, you know, with the fucking picket fence signs, like, saying, thank God he's dying, blah, 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 like, that kind of stuff. And, like, you get word that the fucking IV is not working. Like, it's clogged. It's like, what the fuck? We just want this guy to die already.
Yeah, right.
But, yeah, it's just, oh, man. It's so fucking crazy how, like, a regular person just walking up the street who looks like a normal human being could turn out to be your worst nightmare. It's just fucking mind blowing to me. I don't know.
There was like I'm looking on Wikipedia too. Like there was like five unidentified victims as well too.
Yes, and that's why I said there was like they were saying there was gonna be more than 33.
Yeah,
It's insane.
but
But that's
yeah,
basically kind of a sum up of John Wayne Gacy. Again, I really don't know. It's kind of like yeah, he had a rough upbringing with his father, so like maybe that's why he kind of
here's the thing.
targeted young men and boys in a way.
So I can't. I want to kind of like put my little 2 cents on this, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like you said, like he was very close with his mother and two sisters, but like his father would like just belittle him a lot and call him dumb and stupid and comparing him unfairly with his sisters and stuff. And one of the earliest childhood memories and stuff, and I learned this from the documentary, like a few documentaries and stuff. Um, like at age 4, like his father was beating him with a leather belt, and his mom was like try to shield him, and which resulted in accusations that he was a sissy and a mama's boy, and would probably grow up queer.
Oh boy.
So maybe that's what.
Maybe that's what happened.
But
Like
but
like
then
all
like
that like years of abuse from his father may have just like taken its toll on him as he was growing up, and he's like,
yeah,
fuck it,
um
like I'm gonna show other men and young boys that I am powerful. I'm not a sissy, blah blah blah. And he took it out in that manner.
yeah, um I mean you just never know, like because it's just like the yeah one day it's like they could just be happy go lucky, but then it's like the next day like something just snaps, and like their little fuse is just like shortened and it just like blows up.
Literally. But that is John Wayne Gacy. That is my killer for this year's episode. All right, Mr. Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I have Eileen Warnos, or Eileen Pittman, as she was born. You know, she was born into that. That was her birth name. She was scary from the documentary that I seen this morning. That was terrifying. She committed crime. She actually had. What I heard in the documentary this morning was that she had 8 victims, but when doing research, she had 7, but was only convicted of 6. Um, but overall, very scary woman. She's no longer with us as well. She died 2 months after I was born, October 9th in 2002, in a Florida state prison. So go Dystro.
Woo! Hell yeah!
But yeah, no, she is very disturbed. She grew up like as Marissa's killer kind of grew up as well. She didn't really know her father. Her father wasn't around. He was actually convicted of rape of a 7-year-old, so he was sentenced to life in prison. So she didn't have the best life growing up. When she was around 9, she was prostituting herself for cigarettes or money, anything to keep mostly afloat, I guess you could say. But she was diagnosed with schizophrenia, so that's fun.
God.
Jesus, Corey.
She was diagnosed after her father had committed suicide by hanging himself in
Oh
prison.
fuck.
Jesus.
She was only 4 when it happened, but it kind of messed with her. So
Yeah, I could see why. Like it's like that young. It's like that's triggering for a kid. And it's like you just and she didn't grow up with a father figure too. So I could see why.
Yeah.
She was a scary woman.
She was a
She-
scary woman.
She, yeah, she was just a very scary woman. I didn't really read up much on her. I mean, she was kind of just, she killed all men. She killed all men, but she was a lesbian, which was creepy to find out. She said it was all in self-defense, but it wasn't. In the end, her lover convinced her to, or her lover was like given money to get her to, um, like, admit to what she had done. And I guess her lawyers were given a bunch of money to try and like convince her to give up her story, and which could have overturned everything and could have freed her from prison. So it's also scary, but she's
That
dead.
is scary.
So,
Yeah.
but her
But
whole
she's
case
dead.
was really screwed up. It was really screwed up. Her life was really screwed up. And it was
So
kind of
Yeah,
a
I
scary life
agree.
to live. I would never want to live that life.
yeah. Oh my god. So
Definitely.
all of her victims were between the ages of 40 and 65.
She was just trying to get that life
Oh.
insurance policy.
But it was all in self-defense, apparently.
Yeah, you could say that air quotes.
Yeah.
Defense.
That is so fucked up. Like I'm like looking at her like what the fuck? Like I'm actually scared.
But
Oh
yeah,
wow.
good on her for having serial killers.
So I found a little quote that she said during her I don't know what's it says in a 2001 petition to the Florida Supreme Court. She stated her intention to dismiss her legal counsel and terminate all pending appeals. And then in quotes, "I killed those men, robbed them as cold as ice, and I'd do it again too." Oh my god, Jesus Christ!
Imagine being that psychotic.
It's what we call today a gold digger.
Oh boy. So she died by lethal injection, and she declined her last meal, which could have been anything under $20, and opted for a cup of coffee instead.
So her and Gacy have something in common: lethal injection.
Yeah, fucking. Oh god, I think I remember watching somebody on YouTube because like there's these people on YouTube who like eat people's last meals, and John Wayne Gacy had a huge one, man. Like it was like KFC and a whole
Well,
bunch of
yeah.
other shit. I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah, it's like they could say whatever they wanted for their last meal. It's like if you wanted the entire menu of like Cheesecake Factory or something like that, they'll give it to you.
What would y'all have for your last meal? Why am I asking this? But I'm actually curious.
I would try to get everything on the McDonald's menu.
Oh my
then,
god.
but then it would actually space out like how much time I have between for my meal and them prepping the meal and all that stuff, and then the whatever death penalty would be, because it's like it's making my life more like spread out. Because like they could come up with like a plea or something like that in that time or something. You just never know. But that's what I would just do.
I want a Texas Roadhouse steak with the rolls.
Oh
Of
my
course you
god.
would. Of course you would.
Or
Man.
direct subs.
Fuck yeah, that's my choice right there.
Wow, no love for Jimmy John's? Nice.
Hey, listen, we're New Yorkers. You're a Floridian.
Yeah, but I mean, still, you could always just be like, hey, can I get some Jimmy John's? There's a
I
Jimmy
am
John's.
not choosing Jimmy John's over fucking Drex. I can tell you that.
What's Jimmy John's?
What's Drex subs?
Bitch, you would
Literally
know.
heaven.
Dystro tried it when he came up. He fucking loved it.
And he's a loser. He's just trying to fit in with the cool kids.
He's just trying to fit in with the New Yorkers up here.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a New Yorker.
Yeah, that
I'm a
would be my last
Floridian. I
meal.
drive
Though.
terribly.
That would definitely be my last meal. Would be the Drex sub. Like I cannot go without that. That's like my life right there.
Says Cory, who was like, oh yeah, you need to like be like very angry around these people in town.
You do.
Like it's like you can't be stopping and all that stuff either. It's like you gotta go.
Mm-hmm. Driving in New York, I mean, at least my version of driving is ghetto.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
God.
I know that firsthand.
It's not that bad. Did you die? No.
Not yet.
Not
Not yet.
ever. Nuh-uh, whatever.
Okay.
Anyways, back to the discussion at hand here. Dystro, you have the final serial killer for the night, so go on ahead.
Okay. So mine was ever since last year. I think I did the Zodiac Killer last year, and
I
that
thought
one,
you did Charles Manson.
Wait a
or
minute.
no, yeah, it was Charles Manson. I'm sorry. Um, that one was kind of messed up a little bit,
Hmm.
but
I remember.
um, so this time I kind of went a completely different route. um, so my killer is Richard Ramirez, and he's also known as the Night Prowler killer or Night Stalker, or the
Oh,
Walking Killer or the Valley Intruder.
Hmm.
Um, so basically, his whole story is the AC/DC song Night Prowler. He would listen to it every night before he would go and kill people in their houses and stuff. And he was a serial killer and sex offender in California. And his crime spree took between June of '84 to August of '85, so a whole year.
wow.
And he was convicted and sentenced to death in 1989, and he died in 2013 while waiting execution in
He was
prison.
still waiting
Hmm.
execution.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was on I think he was on either on death row, I think at the time. But he did have a wife, which was surprising. um, he was born Ricardo Lavea Namones Ramirez. If I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, I'm so sorry. Um, born February 29th, 1960 in El Paso, Texas. He died in June 7th, 2013 in Greenbury, California.
Wow.
So this is what he was convicted for. First degree murder, 12 counts. First count, 12 counts of first degree murder. Second degree murder, 11 counts of rape, and 14 counts of first degree burglary.
Wow.
And the criminal penalty was 19 death sentences.
Holy crap. Damn.
Victims are 15 plus.
Wow.
Um, so like with Gacy, his father was abusive towards him as well. Um, he also had a cultivated, strong interest in Satanism and the occult and stuff as well. So kind of like Manson as well.
Hmm.
But he left his home in Texas, moved to California at age 22, where he used cocaine and all that stuff, and he would often commit burglaries to support his drug addiction, which many of were later frequently accompanied by attempted murders, rapes, attempted rapes, and assaults.
Oh my god.
um, yeah. So this guy's just really fucked
Little,
up.
little creepy.
Um, I mean, yeah, he was the walking killer. He just called the night prowler for whatever reason. And his first known murder occurred as early as April of '84. The crime was not connected to Ramirez, nor was it known to be his doing until 2009. So
Wow.
it was a long stretch of time.
I guess so. Oh my god.
He would use handguns, various types of knives, a machete, a tire iron, and a claw hammer. He punched, pistol whipped, and strangled many of his victims, both with his hands, and one instance a cheer ligature, which is like rope, wire chain, or shoelaces. So like what Gacy would use for his victims as well.
Yeah.
Um, he even stomped one of his victims to death in her sleep.
Jesus Christ.
and tortured another victim by shocking her with a live electrical cord.
What the fuck?
Um, but yeah, like he would he would also enjoy degrading and humiliating his victims, especially those who survived his attacks, which were kind of not many, but they live to tell a tale and they have to live with that every day. Like being like, yeah, like I survived Ricardo Ramirez, and like they have to like go to sleep at night, like just trying to
Process
um
that.
um, but especially those who survived his attacks and whom he explicitly decided not to kill by forcing them to profess that they loved Satan, or telling them to swear to Satan. Um, but in '89, he was convicted of 13 counts of murder, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries.
Hmm.
Wow.
Um, but he died in prison of complications of B-cell lymphoma while waiting execution on California's death row. So yeah, it was death row. I was right.
Crazy.
It ranged from okay. So the first one is a 9-year-old that he killed,
Oh my god.
and then like it ranged from like different ages too. So like it could be elderly person, little girl, and it doesn't matter. He if he saw somebody, he killed them, or he tried to like profess them to Satan or whatever.
It's weird because usually serial killers they have like an ideal target, like they target certain people, like a certain gender or the way someone dresses. Like with Ted Bundy, like I did last year, he targeted girls that all had like hair parted down the middle. It was kind of weird, like. And then like with John Wayne Gacy, he targeted young men and boys. And then with yours, he's just targeting just about anybody,
Yeah, like so like it was both men and women. Like
all
so
ages.
like nobody was safe. Um
Jesus.
yeah, so like his first appearance in court, he raised his hand with a pentagram on drawn on it and yelled "Hail Satan" to the jury.
Jesus Christ.
And then the LA Times reported that some jail employees overheard Ramirez planning to shoot the prosecutor with a gun, which Ramirez intended to have smuggled into the courtroom. Uh, a metal detector was installed outside, and intensive searches were conducted on people entering. So, fair enough.
Fair
Hmm.
enough. Now, I'm reading right here a little fun fact. In popular culture, Michael Jackson's "Smooth Criminal" is a song that's inspired by the killings.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
That is fucking something I did not know about. That is kind of cool, I guess.
Kind of weird.
Kind of
it's
weird, but
kind of
kind of
yeah, it's
cool.
kind of weird. Yeah. So like yeah, there's like a lot of different things that was based on him. Like it's just crazy that he did this for a whole year and they were not even able to catch him at all
Jeez.
until like he was trying to I saw like he was trying to get from a bus stop and all that stuff and like he took a bus from to Tucson to visit his brother unaware that he become the lead story in virtually every major newspaper. um He returned to Los Angeles early that morning on August 31st and walked past police officers who were staking out the bus terminal in hopes of catching the killer. And
Hmm.
then, after noticing a elderly Hispanic woman, truthfully identifying him as El Matador, he saw his face on the newspaper La Opinion with a headline calling him Invasor Nocturno and fled the store in a panic. There's like
Wow.
It's like that's just crazy.
That is. She
Hmm.
said his killings were within a span of a year, right?
Yeah, June of '84 to August of '85.
I forgot to mention with mine, with John Wayne Gacy, it was from 67 to 78, the years.
So
So 11 years.
yeah, 11 years.
I
Wow.
don't
And then
remember what Dahmer's was.
from last year,
Yeah, I don't remember.
let
It
me
was
go
probably
see.
like a good few years span, probably.
It was a
From
while.
1970 to 1981.
Yeah.
So that was 11 years.
For Ted Bundy, it was 74 to 78. But you gotta remember, he also escaped from prison.
Yeah.
So it could have been shorter if he wouldn't have escaped from prison. And then, Corey, who was yours again?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
No, this year.
Oh, Eileen Warnos. It was only a year for her.
Jeez.
From
Wow.
89 to 90.
Jeez. Fucking crazy people out there, I tell you. And that's what I mean. This world can be a scary place. That's why I always tell people, take care of yourselves, stay safe out there. Like, you just never know.
So I just wanted to read this little tidbit here before we wrap this up
Yeah.
whole thing. So on September 20th of '89, Ramirez was convicted of all 43 charges, 13 counts of murder, blah blah blah, all that stuff. During the penalty phase of the funeral, of the funeral, right? During the penalty phase of the trial on November 7th of '89, he was sentenced to death in California's gas chamber. He stated to the reporters after the death sentences, "Big deal. Death always went with the territory. See you in Disneyland."
What the fuck?
The trial cost $1.8 million, which at the time made it the most expensive murder trial in history of California, until it's surpassed by the O.J. Simpson murder case in '94.
Oh man, I actually want to look into that one because, like, my dad's talked about it a little bit, but, like, I really, really want to look into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should do that sometime together. Just look into it for the hell of it.
It's the same thing with with O.J. It's like he was like all these commercials, he was in movies and stuff, and it's just something just snapped. Just
Off the deep end.
yeah, like for real. Okay.
So, I think that's gonna wrap up our serial killers episode for this year. I hope everybody enjoyed. What's some other serial killers you guys would like us to discuss next year? Leave us some, I don't know, leave us some suggestions on social media or in the comments, just anywhere you can get a hold of us. We would love to hear your suggestions so we can look into them. As you know, we only do this episode once a year during October, so this is the only one we're doing this year. But that also means Rectober is officially wrapping up. Again, thank you guys for listening the whole month, and I hope you guys enjoyed Rectober. But now we must move on to November. Now, this month we have quite a few episodes planned out. We got some pretty big ones, and I actually think we're starting off with a pretty big one. So, this Thursday coming up, November 2nd, our first episode of November, we are breaking down a very, very recent album. Yes, it's Blink-182's One More Time album, Part 1. So, what I mean by Part 1, we're going to split this album in half, just like we did with California, because it is a long album in accordance to how many tracks there are. Not so much in length. A lot of these songs are short. So we are doing tracks 1 through 8 this Thursday in Part 1. I'm going to do the meanings for these. I'm going to look up all the meanings for these on my own. And Dystro's in charge of Part 2, which will be a week from today. So that'll be tracks 9 to 17. So that will be this Thursday. We're going to break down the first half of One More Time while it's still fresh in our heads. I mean, I've been listening to this album on repeat for like a week now. So. Anyway, so I have tonight's Song of the Night as well. Since we're going to be starting our Fall Out Boy pilgrimage this month coming up, I figured I'd pick a Fall Out Boy song, and I'm actually picking a cover song they did. They did a cover of Michael Jackson's Beat It back on the Believers Don't Die compilation album. Mm-hmm. So that's tonight's Song of the Night, Beat It by Fall Out Boy. If you guys would like to take a listen, There's going to be a link at the top right hand corner of this episode at the end. There is a music player for this, so I will go ahead and put that for you guys. Go take a listen. Couple of little things actually, but before we start promoting our social media and stuff. To all of you who are celebrating Halloween, I hope everybody has a very happy and safe Halloween. I know the weekend just passed, but in case there are some spare Halloween parties happening in the coming days, be safe, don't drink and drive. Just have a good time, take care of each other. Halloween's only once a year, and you want to make the most of it, so go out there and have fun. Get some candy, have some fun. So, if you stuck around to the very end, we greatly appreciate your support. Be sure to go ahead and follow us on social media by clicking on that link in the description below, which will take you to Linktree. We have Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and TikTok. Go on ahead and follow us there to keep up to date with the show. Also, our YouTube community part of the channel is also a good way to keep up to date with us as well. You just go to our YouTube channel, click on that community tab at the top, and all of our updates will be posted there as well. So be sure to do that. And Dystro's YouTube channel is there as well, where he posts weekly gaming content and some memes from time to time. What are you at right now for subs?
I'm still at 1,020, but hopefully within the next few days and stuff, maybe it'll be changed.
Yeah, I mean, we got a fun GTA night ahead of us.
Yep.
So you'll get some content out of that. But like I said, he posts weekly gaming content and memes sometimes. I'm in there too sometimes because we do play video games when we're not doing the show. So be sure to go ahead and subscribe to him, show him some love, share his stuff around. Once again, take a listen to tonight's song of the night, Beat It by Fall Out Boy. And Cory, thank you for joining us again.
Mm-hmm.
We missed you.
Don't lie.
We did miss you. Dystro, tune in.
Yes, we did miss you.
That sounded so fake.
Like, oh
God.
yeah, we did miss you. Oh, oh.
Oh.
Oh God.
But
I'm done.
we do appreciate you, coming on to do this again with us, Cory. We do appreciate it.
Yes.
Fun all the time. I always have fun.
Well, I'm glad. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you guys in November. Peace.
Peace.